Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right, we're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go! I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
One chilly fall day, Levi was playing in his front yard. As he waited for his sister Ivy, he decided to get some sidewalk chalk and draw on his driveway. He started by making a drawing of himself. He was in a magical forest, surrounded by animals of all shapes and sizes. The drawing grew and grew before Ivy made her way outside. Levi was hoping that drawing and playing outside would help with the problem he had been having. He thought if he played outside all day, then maybe he would finally get a good night's sleep. You see, for the last couple of weeks, every time Levi laid down in bed, he would drift off to sleep and have the same dream that would wake him up. And once he was up, he couldn't get back to sleep. He told his parents about it, and they tried everything they could think of to help him get to sleep and stay asleep. Calming music, a noise machine, warm milk, a nightlight, no nightlight, a bedtime story, no bedtime story, but nothing worked. However, soon Levi would find out the answer to his sleep problem was in the dream he was having. "That's a really cool drawing," said Ivy once she made her way outside. "Is that the forest from your dream?"
Yes,
yawned Levi. He had told his sister and his parents all about the dream he kept having over and over again the last couple of weeks. It was set in a magical forest filled with amazing animals, and it was all so peaceful and calming at the beginning of each dream. Levi walked along, listening to the birds chirping in the distance. Their song was lovely and melded perfectly with the gentle sound of a waterfall and a nearby babbling brook. His footsteps were quiet on the moss-covered forest floor, and as he looked around, he noticed that he was holding his favorite book. Each time at that point in his dream, Levi would then see a clearing up ahead. It was the perfect spot to sit and read. Then a ray of sunlight would find its way through the dense canopy of leaves above his head, acting as the perfect reading light. Levi would then settle down to read his book, enjoying the calm and quiet in the beautiful forest. However, he never got further than the first page before he heard a rustling behind him in the bushes. "Levi, is that the little fox from your dream?" asked Ivy as she pointed to a smiling, furry friend peeking out from behind a tall tree. "Yep, that's him all right," said Levi with another big yawn. "That's the little guy that wakes me up every night. He runs around and doesn't let me rest. I know if I could just read my book during my dream, I would stay asleep and finally not be so tired all day." The fox in Levi's dream was very playful and very, very energetic. He would dart around Levi back and forth until Levi was so distracted that he couldn't read anymore. Now, don't get it wrong. For the first couple of dreams, Levi thought it was lots of fun. They ran around playing tag, Simon Says, and soccer using giant round mushrooms that grew in the forest. They would go on hikes, swim in the brook, and climb trees. It was wonderfully fun. But all the excitement was waking Levi up out of a sound sleep. And once he was up and filled with so much energy, he couldn't get back to sleep. After a while, Levi even felt tired in his dream. But the little fox looked to be having so much fun that Levi didn't want to say no, and instead kept playing with him and waking up night after night. Levi looked a bit defeated and frustrated with his current nighttime situation as he sat in his driveway drawing. He just wanted to sleep a full night and not be tired and yawning the whole next day. As he and Ivy talked a bit more, she told him about some fun things she had learned in school. "Levi, did you know that some animals actually love staying up all night?" asked Ivy. "They're called nocturnal." "That's cool," said Levi, yawning again, trying to keep his eyes open, knowing that if he fell asleep, he would just see that energetic little fox again. "It's too bad your dreams don't take place during the day," started Ivy, "because if it did, that fox would be asleep and it wouldn't bother you. That's because foxes are nocturnal. He would be sleeping during the day and you could read your book peacefully in the forest and stay asleep." Levi looked up from his drawings at Ivy with a surprised look on his face. "But it is daytime in my dream," said Levi. "If foxes are nocturnal, then why is the fox in my dream awake during the day?" Levi couldn't believe this new bit of information Ivy had just presented to him. He then had a wonderful thought. Ivy, I think you may have given me an idea of what I need to do to get a good night's sleep, said Levi with a smile. I need to help the fox in my dream to get to sleep, because if he sleeps, then I sleep. Ivy was so excited that Levi had a plan to help him sleep through the night. She was kind of getting tired herself of Levi not being full of energy when she wanted to play together lately. Thank you so much, said Levi. Now I have a plan once I fall asleep tonight. Find out why the fox in your dream isn't sleeping? Asked Ivy.
Oh, that's right,
said Levi with another big yawn. And I hope I can figure it out in just one night. This lack of sleep is exhausting. Levi and Ivy went inside as the sun was beginning to set and got ready for dinner. While they waited, they looked at Levi's list of things that help him fall asleep. Since they had no problem with that, Levi knew he would be able to help the little fox in his dream. Then all he had to hope was that the little fox would stay asleep. That night after dinner, Levi and Ivy went upstairs to get ready for bed. Levi brushed his teeth, put on his PJs, and jumped into bed after sipping a nice warm glass of milk. He turned off his nightlight after hearing a bedtime story from his mom and was ready to get to work in his dream. Ivy popped into his room to wish him luck. He thanked her and yawned one final yawn before his eyes closed and he drifted off to dreamland. Once Levi arrived in the forest, he walked around as he always did, enjoying the peace and quiet. He carried his favorite book toward the clearing and sat down like he had done so many nights before. But this time, instead of starting to read his book, he waited and listened. Then before he knew it, he heard the familiar rustling sound. Levi got up and walked over to the bushes, not waiting for the fox to pop out and run over to him that night. Nope. Tonight, Levi was going to have a talk with the fox. Something he had never done before. They were always too busy playing and running around to ever talk. Levi stood patiently as the rustling got louder and louder. Then all of a sudden, the little fox hopped out of the bushes and was standing right in front of him. He looked a little surprised not to see Levi sitting down reading his book, but quickly moved on to darting around him and getting their playtime started. However, instead of following along like he always did, Levi just stood there. The little fox, confused by how Levi was acting, stopped too. It was one of the only times Levi had seen him not running around. And it was then that he noticed something. The little fox blinked his eyes slowly and yawned. Then, as if he was trying to resist the urge to sleep, he shook his head and began to run around again. He's tired too, said Levi to himself. I definitely need to get him to sleep. He needs it, as much as I do. Levi then walked toward the little fox and asked his name. The little fox scurried around, running behind trees and over rocks before he yelled. My name is Jefferson, and I know you're Levi, right? Exclaimed the fox as he bounced from place to place. That's right, and I think we need to talk, replied Levi, taking a seat on a fallen tree. He hoped by settling down and being calm with his tone and actions that Jefferson would follow his lead. Well, it didn't work. At first. Jefferson continued to run around, not listening to Levi at all. So how about we play tag again? Or we could run to the top of the mountain over there, or maybe I could take you to my favorite berry patch. The berries are great this time of year, said Jefferson, trying to hold back a yawn. How about we just hang out here and talk for a bit? Asked Levi. I don't like sitting still, answered Jefferson. If I sit still, then I could, well, never mind. Let's just go have some fun like always. Levi knew he was getting somewhere and just needed Jefferson to admit he should be sleeping during the day. What were you going to say? Asked Levi. If you sit still, you could what? Fall asleep? Jefferson stopped in his tracks and stared at Levi. How did you know? Asked Jefferson, walking over toward Levi. Because if I'm not moving around during the day lately, I feel like I could fall asleep too, replied Levi. That's because I haven't been able to sleep at night for the last couple of weeks. And it's because of you. Me? Answered Jefferson, sounding surprised. What did I do? That's when Levi explained to the little fox how playing all the time in his dream was very fun, but it was just too much at nighttime. Bedtime is quiet time, calm time, relaxing time, began Levi. We all need to get a good amount of rest so we can be full of energy to play the next day. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. You always seemed so excited to see me, so I just kept playing. But I really can't do it anymore. I need to get some sleep. And so do you. How do you know I need to get some sleep? Said Jefferson with a yawn. I'm just doing great, always full of energy and never ever sleepy. Never sleepy? Said Levi. I highly doubt that, considering you need to be up all night too because you're nocturnal. The daytime is your time to sleep. Jefferson looked surprised that Levi knew about nocturnal animals. He was definitely tired, and they both knew it. He couldn't keep pretending anymore. Okay, said Jefferson. You're right. I'm tired all night long and daytime too. But the reason I stay awake during the day and try to keep you up too is because I'm lonely. Jefferson went on to tell Levi how he had just moved to the dream forest. He started off sleeping during the day and being awake all night. But while he ran around in the moonlight, he couldn't find any friends to play with. One day, while he was getting ready to go to sleep, he saw Levi. Jefferson was so excited to see a potential friend that his excitement kept him awake. That was the first day that we played together, said Jefferson with a smile. It was so much fun, I waited up the next day to see if you would come back. When you did, I decided not to go to bed that night either. And what happened the next day, and the next, and now we're here. 2 sleepy friends in the dream forest, giggled Levi. Sleep is really important though, and we have got to get you and me back on our correct sleep schedules. Jefferson was sad at the thought of not playing with Levi anymore, but he knew it was the right thing to do. That's when Levi took out his list of things that make him fall asleep. Then after settling Jefferson down in his burrow right next to his mom and dad, Levi gave him a glass of warm milk, read him a few pages from his favorite book, and watched as his little fox friend drifted off to sleep. But before any of that, Levi assured Jefferson of 2 things. 1, Levi would return to the dream forest, and they would play together again. It just couldn't be night after night, and their activities had to end with something calming to keep Levi asleep. Levi promised to return at dusk, which is the time when day is turning into night, so Jefferson would be just waking up. And 2, when Jefferson woke up the next night, he would have a new fox friend waiting to play with him during the time when he was supposed to be up. As Jefferson drifted off to sleep, Levi took out a piece of chalk that he brought with him, thinking maybe he would need it that night. With that chalk, he drew a fox friend for Jefferson. Her name was Ellie, and she couldn't wait to meet Jefferson. Levi returned to the clearing in the forest, sat down to read his book. The quiet was wonderful, and the soothing sounds of the dream forest lulled him to sleep as he read his favorite book. The next sound he heard were his parents and Ivy waking him up. Wow, you certainly needed that, said his mom. It's 10 a.m. You slept almost 10 hours. You definitely made up for all those sleepless nights the last couple of weeks, said his dad. I'm so happy your sleep schedule is back on track. Wow, that was a great sleep, replied Levi. I feel great. Here's to no more yawning and almost falling asleep in your cereal today, laughed Ivy. How about we have breakfast and then go outside to play? That sounds great, replied Levi as he got out of bed and everyone left his room. He walked over to his window, looked outside at the beautiful sunny day. That's when he noticed the sun shining on the chalk drawing he had done in the driveway the day before. He quickly looked for Jefferson and found him. However, he also found something else. Right next to his little fox friend was the drawing he had created of Ellie. The sun shone on them the brightest of all, and Levi couldn't help but smile, thinking of the dream forest and when he would return there again.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun Lively Lewis story with you.